Hello, welcome on in. My name is Karsh Goblin. This is Goblin KTV. The reason why I have actual proper headsets on today is because we're doing audio, and I don't usually have the headset on because we don't need to do that much. But then again, we always use audio on our channel, and the reason is because it can be so emotive. Now, the two audio products that we are looking at today and talking about have two very different styles. We're going to be looking at the Red Steel Savage Baronies. So Red Steel Savage Baronies is this box set here. It's for AD&D and has CD included. The CD, yes, CDs did exist. They're very old. They're like a DVD, but not. Um, so we're going to have a look at the Red Steel box sets, CD included. I unfortunately can't find my Red Steel box CD included on this one. I can't find it. It's here somewhere in the house, but it is pretty good itself. And the other one we're looking at, the other one, if you can have a look on the other side of the screen, of course, over here, is the Introduction to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons second edition, CD included. Here it is, right there, right on the box. It's very different style, and the reason why I want to bring them up and talk about these is because they're the oldest CD included or role playing audio that I can find. This box here is the first AD&D box that I had. It introduced me and my friends to AD&D, although we've been playing GURPS, Rifts, Call of Cthulhu, and a few other things before that time. We use a lot of audio on our channel, a heck of a lot of audio. It's really important for us as a streaming channel doing role-playing games to get that emotive response from our players and to show our audience, in an audio way at least, what's going on in the scene. And these are two different versions of how to do that. So the first, I want to actually speak about the Red Steel version. So on the intro load-in screen, when we were waiting, thank you everybody for waiting, was the Savage Barony. I'll play another version of their Savage Barony stuff. So we'll play the Swashbucklers. So it's very emotive music. So this is the Swashbucklers. This is track 11 from the CD. These are from 1995, by the way. Around 1995-96, these two products. So they're old school, they're really good, but they're very different. And TSR at this stage was still TSR. It wasn't actually bought out by Wizards of the Coast, now Hasbro, etc. It was still an independent company. And at this stage, they must have brought in an audio department or someone to go, hey, this would be really cool. Because I couldn't find anything like CD includes or anything like that before this time period. And there's very different ways. So the Red Steel box set and the Savage Baronies one, which were the audio from this one, it has a lot more emotive background music. So this is the Swashbuckler. So this is like the sound itself is very emotive, but it can be for anything. This could be for a fight scene or high adventure or like a chase scene or something like that. Like you can use it for lots of different things. And that's what all of the Red Steel stuff is about. There's no narration, there's no clashing of weapons, there's no foley or things like that. It's just the emotive sound going on. I mean, I can play the entire, like all the tracks right now, but like you can hear kind of what's going on, and you could just hear the tings, like, or maybe swordplay there. So a few tings are there as swordplay, but there's not like a huge Foley studio behind doing all the bits and pieces. So I'll just fade that one down. So yeah, they've got 14 tracks, and the Red Steel box set as well had more tracks as well to add to that. And they're just like emotive sounds for different bits and pieces, and usually for regions. So it's got different villages and different bits and pieces, and like for traveling for different areas. but it's more as again that background emotive sound or the heroic sound, which we'll listen to the Mercian Lands as we're coming in. The other one, and this is a very different style. The other one for the TSR Introduction to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and Audio CD, which is the full title of the box set. It's very different style. Yeah, we'll play. We'll start. This is going to be like 2 long sections. I'll pause it in bits or I'll speak over bits, but this is more narration style. This is a how to get into the game. So this is. I'm just going to prime you here. Just like it's bad. It's really bad. So think about in mid-1990s, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons (TSR) are trying to get more people into their product. They've been running for years already. They're running for 15 years, etc., on the products essentially, and they're wanting to get more people in. So they make an introductory box. But who's going to be their target audience? Let's see. Does it say on the box? Suitable for 2 to 7 players, ages 10 to adult. So you're looking at 10-year-olds to adult. You're looking at 10-year-olds for this CD. So you've got to put that in mind when listening to these audios and have an idea of what's going on. So we'll do the first track and then we'll do the second track. The first one is like them getting the box set and starting. I need to find the right section, so I think I've got kind of where it is. So just bear in mind. What you have just
heard is a typical adventure from the advanced. You get to be like pull the character cards out of the.
So I'm just trying to find the right flight.
Oh.
Here we go.
Hey guys!
Hey.
I just got the AD&D game.
Wow.
Let's check it out.
I don't know. I heard it's a really hard game with a lot of rule books and stuff.
on.
Come
Oh,
on.
give me a break. Everything we need is in the box. See? And you don't even have to read them. I'll do it.
Don't be
All
a
right.
wuss.
You read.
I watched my brother play once and it looked like a blast. Come on.
Hey, it's easy. You guys don't have to do anything except use your imagination. I'll be the dungeon master since I already read the rules.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you're great.
Yeah. Okay, I got 4 characters here.
Okay, wait a minute. What's a character?
All right, each of you guys gets to be a character in the game.
Yeah?
One of you controls a fighter, one the wizard, one the thief, and one the cleric. Who wants to be the fighter?
Oh, I get it. It's kind of like being in a play.
Yeah, except for you'll get to make up your own lines.
Cool. I'll be the fighter.
I got the wizard.
Thief.
Hey, I guess I'll take the cleric, even though I don't know what a cleric is.
Hey, no kind of character is better than any other. They're just different. Next game, you can play a fighter if you want to. All right.
So it's a young audience, and they're portraying the voices are very young. At least they're portraying very young, but again, that's their target audience. The target audience were people that were teenagers, like from 10 years old or older. Dungeons and Dragons. Oh my god, what is this whole rule set? It's complicated. It's scary. Oh no! And they've had the person, the games master going, look, you don't need to know the rules. I'll teach you the rules. I've read them. I'll be the games master, and you can just play along, and we'll learn as we play. So it's a really that's how a lot of things go when running beginner boxes, but it comes right out there. And of course, what the hell is a cleric? Why would someone know what a cleric is? A cleric is a weird name for a priest. They could have just said, I will be the priest. But no, cleric is the class, and so that's what they went with, and so, okay. But I do love even though I don't know what it is, because it's a weird thing. So they choose their classes, and then we go into the next section. Again, there's going to be a few of these parts.
Let's start the adventure. You're deep in the jungle, standing in front of one of those Aztec kind of pyramids. Yeah, you know the ones with the big steps?
Yeah, like down Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the Temple of the Lizard King.
Lizard. Yeah, lizard.
You're here to rescue Lord Easterling, who's been captured by the Lizardmen. Now, there aren't any doors or entrances near the ground, so you gotta climb the crumbling stone steps to the top of the pyramid.
Okay.
How do we...
And there's a small stone building on top. The doorway's too dark to see into. You wanna go inside?
Come on, we didn't climb all this way for nothing. Come on, let's go. Yeah.
So I'll just pause there. So it's a nice little, like, this is the suspense that you can build. This is like the, ooh, the spookiness. And they do it well. I mean, it's cheesy, but I think they do it really well. It is absolutely not the Savage Baronies Red Steel, where it's just a motive. This is very much helping new players get into the game, get into that joyful imagination play and storytelling.
Yeah, right. Let the fighter go first.
Hey, listen, you guys. Inside the small building is a pit. You can't see more than a few feet down into it.
Hey, that rhymes.
What are you gonna do?
Well, what are we allowed to do? I mean,
Anything you want, as long as it's possible for your character to do it.
okay.
So again, that's like, what do you want to do? Putting the onus on the players, but in this case, the players don't know what they can do. So the games master, dungeon master, I should say dungeon master because it is AD&D. The dungeon master is like, well, it's anything you want to do, and then we clarify that in this next part, which I really like how they clarify it.
Okay, I step into the pit and I float gently down to the bottom.
Bad idea. You'll get splattered.
But you said I could do anything I wanted.
I meant you could try to do anything you wanted. You tell me what you want your thief character to try to do, and I'll tell you what happens.
Okay.
If you want him to step into the pit and try to float down, go ahead. But as a DM, I know that your character will fall like a rock and get squished like a bug when he hits that bottom.
So again, you have all this freedom, but then they clarify that as like, okay, well, within reason, it's like you're not going to float down this because you're not going to float to the ground because gravity exists in this world. Gravity exists in real life, so it's not going to happen like that. So there's that little bit of teaching moment there, and it's actually it's a good way of putting that teaching moment in. I really like how they've done this.
Okay, I get it. I should only try and do things that would work if this were real, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
could do
right.
it.
Right.
Hey, let's drop a light down there so we can see how deep it is. I'll drop my flashlight.
Flashlight.
Sorry, this is a game about knights and dragons. They didn't have flashlights back then.
Rechargeable batteries.
Hey, look at your character card. They did have torches, though.
Ah.
You want to drop a torch down the pit?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
So for new players, leading questions to help them go, oh, well, they didn't have flashlights, but if you look at your character sheets, they do have torches. Would you like to do that? So it's leading them and guiding them a little bit gently, which again, new players do tend to need. And it's giving them that experience of like, oh, this is what we can do.
Did they do what you would have done?
And
Maybe, maybe not. The point is, they got to decide what to do. They could try anything they could think of. A different group of players might have dropped a rock down the pit to see how long it fell before it made a sound. Another group might just try to climb down the pit without first testing it.
You watch the torch fall down a long ways, maybe 100 feet, and then halfway down is a tunnel in the side of the pit. At the bottom of the pit is water with crocodiles swimming in it.
Chomp, chomp.
Yeah, and the torch hits one of them on the head and then goes off.
All right, okay.
Okay, so that's the narration side of it. That's the gameplay, what you'd hear at the table. But then they've got the same scene played out in the audio of what the player's imagination is seeing. So this is going to have like over-the-top voice acting, but it's actually done in a really nice way. So just bear with me. I've just got to get to the right place. I think it's about 120 seconds.
Stand aside, I'll see what's in there.
There we go.
You know it. There's a pit leading straight back down.
Can you tell how deep it is?
There's no way of knowing, but it's deep. Hey, wizard, do you think it's magical? Maybe we can all just step onto it and float down.
Oh, I wouldn't try.
You go first, thief.
I'll drop a torch down and test the depth.
Good idea, cleric.
Thank you.
Did you see that? Crocodiles. I bopped one of them.
Good shot.
The pit must be at least 100 feet deep.
I saw a side tunnel about halfway down.
I saw it too. Now, how do you propose we get down there?
So that's the same scene played out, shortened because it didn't have all the gameplay and the rules and whatnot in there, and all the discussion. But that's essentially the same thing, but from the imagination side of point of view. So this audio CD, the primer, at least these first parts, is really, really good at getting getting new players to understand this is about imagination. This is about working together, storytelling, etc. And also puts those guidelines of you can do whatever you want to do, but within reality. And even in that part, I said the fighter, like the fighter said, mentions, "What do you think, wizard? Do you think we step out, it's magical, we can float our way down?" Which is kind of what he implied with, like, hey, I want to step outside and float down. Like, and the GM went, yeah, that's not going to happen. So it kind of works. For me, it really works. It goes on for a good 5 minutes. And there's more on each side. I'm just clipping little parts, and this is the part I think works the best. For teaching purposes, I should say. Now, the style of the CD and how it works in game. So where the Savage Baronies is background, this location, play this track, or in fight, play X track, etc. In this, it actually goes on the page as you're reading, and it'll have like numbers next to it, like this is this track, this is that track. If you do that, play this track. If you do this instead, play this track. So it gives you options. And there's a lot of bits in here where it's not just narration. So I've played a game recently, which I'm actually going to bring into an audio club for a later date, where all the audio tracks is the narration describing the room with a professional narrator, of course. And then has like the room background noise as the next track for that room. These ones have like the events in the room more than just the room narration, and we'll go into those now. So the first one I want to deal with is the I'll deal with the second version instead of the first one. So there's an option of like, if the players want to try to get more money from the person making the deal with them, negotiating their adventure money rewards, it's got one narration if it succeeds. It's got another narration if it fails. And so I'm going to play the fail one instead of the first one, because the first one's a lot bigger and it doesn't really prove the point as much, but it's got the second one here. So I'll play this one. It's about 40 seconds, so bear with me.
Your demands are ridiculous. Begone, adventurers. Major Domo, find me adventurers who won't attempt to bankrupt me. Worthless, little, hungry.
There you go. So there you go. So there's little things like that, where if you try to do this, you can play this track, or even if you fail at doing something, you can play X track or whatever. And there's a few parts like that in it. There's a good 60 tracks in this CD. A lot of them really small. At the first introduction primers are the longest ones, generally speaking. And there's a lot of voice acting from the imagination point of view instead of narration point of view, which I like, but it's kind of weird that I haven't heard this for such a long time, in this style for such a long time. If you're a regular viewer of our channel, we use Sirenscape almost exclusively, because they've got a lot of amazing things and a lot of bits and pieces. But again, we'll do probably an audio club just on Sirenscape at some point. Actually, probably just on small parts of Sirenscape, because it's such an expansive thing. So another thing I wanted to bring is the kobolds, the little kobold path here. So there's two tracks here we want to bring in, and the voice acting and and it's more of like an introduction of this is what a kobold sounds like, and this is their personality. Now, kobolds in AD&D are very different from D&D 5th edition. So in AD&D 2nd edition, kobolds were more dog-like creatures. They weren't descended from dragons. They were more descended from dogs, hyenas, that style. Like they're almost a humanoid hyena. So they're very different origin. They're like the style is a little bit different from what you'd see now, but they're still like groveling and still a bit underhanded and whatnot, and sneaky, of course. So we'll play the two kobold tracks, which is track 10 and track 11, just to give you an idea of like, because this primes the players in what these monsters are. I mean, if you're trying to tell someone what a kobold is, it's hard for them to understand. But if you hear what it is, this is much easier. So listen to these two tracks and we'll go through them. This is the travel.
Hey, ow, ow, watch where you put that sword. Sharpen it. I know it's sharp. I'm sharpening it. Hey, come on. There's something. Would you give me something to drink? Where's my ale?
What are those things?
Kobolds.
What are those? Those are humans. Ugly. You better give up, humans. Yeah. We're gonna cut you to pieces. If you don't surrender right now. Yeah, surrender right now. We're gonna cut you to pieces. We'll cut you. That's telling them.
These kobolds sound like a bunch of sloughs.
You're right, warrior. Let me smoke them out. Sorry, kobolds. We're not scared. So why don't you tell us where Tehran the elf is, and we'll be on our way. Lie to us, and we'll be back.
Oh, yes. Sorry. We're scared of Onesher than we are you. Yeah, scary. You're scarier. All right, well, we'll get him and we'll pound you into bloody lumps. Yeah, he'll pound you. Exactly. Yeah, he'll pound you into lumps. Yeah, each other. Yeah, shoot you and spit you back up. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Yeah, I know. And we put the sauce. And we'll all eat you. Oh, yeah, the sauce. I like the sauce. Sauce is good. Good.
So that's the first of the kobold tracks. But listening to the kobolds and how they talk and like that we're gonna pound you, we're gonna stab you, we're beginning, and you can hear already that there's that boisterousness, but like you can hear that they're not like a big creature. There's not like there's not a deep tone. It's a very sniveling, smaller creature. Just in that. Just in the voice, just in the audio of what's going on and the interactions. So I really like that just with the audio, you can have that image in your mind, that in your imagination of maybe what the kobolds are like. I'm sure that like in the box, there's a picture of the kobold and how big they are, etc. But I think the audio does a better way of putting it into your mind, into your imagination of what a kobold is. Just from that little track. And again, this is you walk into the room and you press play on track 10. And I think they've done this really well. So we're going to do the second one. And I like this one.
Just all in coins. I like here, jingle.
All right, here you go.
More coins.
Done okay by us.
Yeah, loyalty's kind of stupid if there's money involved.
Sure is. Couldn't put it better myself.
No way.
Silence! Now where is the elf?
Quickly, before we decide to take our money back.
So in this case, instead of fighting the kobolds, you bribe the kobolds. And so if the players bribe the kobolds, press track or play track 11. And there's a lot of moments in here. I'm not going to go through all 60 tracks. And I'm not going to be going through all the other bits and pieces. But I think just little things like that help you visualize. There's probably one more track which I could do helps visualize orcs. But otherwise, there's a lot of bits and pieces in here. And this is part one. This is like the first adventure. There's actually 3 adventures included into the introduction to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game set. like the box set. So there's 3 adventures in there, and the tracks cover all 3 as well as the primers. And I think it really does help visualize. So I want to touch on like the Savage Baronies side of how things are, more like the background style of audio, like the emotive music, and things like that. But I want to go into this style, which I don't really see very often, where it's very much linked to the adventure, and it's not just linked to the adventure, but it gives you that that visualization of what things are, especially for new players, because we do a lot of beginner boxes around here, and this is certainly a very different version of a beginner box. So for the YouTube video, thank you for coming in, and click subscribe and all the other bits and pieces, and have a great day, and check out our our TTRPG book clubs, and not just the audio club. I'm going to do more audio clubs with Sirenscape, maybe some Battle Bards, and some other audio products that I've got. So for YouTube, check those out later. We're going to continue on Twitch and just have more of a question and answer and just talk about stuff. So thank you for YouTube. Have a great day.